Before we dive into today's episode, I have something truly special to share. Next September, I'll be leading an intimate women's retreat through the south of France and northern Italy, and you're invited. Picture this: mornings exploring the colorful markets of the French Riviera, afternoons sipping wine, and a hotel view with golden Mediterranean sunsets. Whether you love photography, food, or just want to reconnect with your playful creative self, this trip is designed for you. Spots are limited, so if all this sounds like your kind of adventure, please visit tourwithabsolutely.com and look for the tour France and Italy with Crystal. You can also send me a message or check out the show notes. Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. Today on the show, I interview Antoinette Placides. She is a busy woman doing all sorts of things, from helping small businesses to podcasting to coaching. And we talk about avoiding burnout and defining your values. If you're an artist or anyone who's been struggling on figuring out what you want and how to do it, this is a great episode for you. So welcome to the show. How are you today?
Doing awesome. I am super excited. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you on because so many people ask me how to podcast and what it takes and the management aspects. And that's like what you specialize in, and you help people with their businesses. So I think this can be really helpful for a lot of our listeners today who want to put their stuff out there, but aren't really sure how to advertise it. And I feel like podcasting is such a great way. But let's talk a little bit about where you're from and what brought you to France.
Yeah, so I am from the Philippines, born and raised. I'm a proud Filipina. I have 3 kids, and they are mainly the reasons why I'm here. I've been working with global people, mostly US-based clients, US-based businesses since the beginning of time. I don't even want to tell you how long. And one of the things that I realized is that although I love the Philippines, it doesn't create opportunities for multi-passionate and artistic people like myself. You have to be an account manager, a business manager, or somewhere administrative to be able to maintain a certain lifestyle. And I want my children to, for example, be passionate about making coffee and do just that, have that option. And I realized that, and knowing from people living in Paris, and my mom loved Paris, I took my chance and took all my kids and moved here.
That's amazing. I mean, that's so brave of you. And how has your life changed since moving to France?
Oh my God. It's like dying, literally and figuratively, because I had COVID and I died for a little bit, and then I woke up because I realized my husband doesn't speak French, and I'm like, oh no, I need to go back. But it's like giving up your old self. For me, the past 5 years has been since I've been here since 2018, at the very beginning of COVID. And it's like dying, like what I said, and then giving birth to the whole new person. And this is where, since I started from scratch, literally I have nothing with me but my kids, it allowed me to explore so much more in my craft, digitally. That's how the podcast started, but also with my craft in the physical arts, painting or working around with clay and doing some earrings, which I just wanted to do, in my head, in hindsight, for the longest time. Oh, I wanted to do that. Oh, I wonder if I could paint, because my brother and sisters, they're artists. And I just wasn't, because I'm the first child in our family. So I had to be responsible and quote unquote. And
Yeah, quote
and so
unquote.
I never really dived into that until I came here, where people celebrate that. Like, people celebrate your artistry, whatever, like, no matter what it looks like. Like, there's always people will always find it beautiful. Like, you have an audience for whatever you're doing. You would think, oh, my painting's not really that good. But you would be surprised that somebody out here in Paris would find it beautiful. Whereas in my country, I don't know now, you cannot make a living out of it. You cannot be like, I just paint and that's my job. Like, that's not the thing. You're not, I don't know if it's a myth. I hope it isn't. But it just isn't true. And I know it takes a lot to get that lifestyle here in Paris, but it's not impossible. So that is
Definitely.
the long answer of why I'm here.
Yeah, no, but I mean, so many people say that because the French respect the arts, and they're like, you, if you say like I'm a painter in the States or the Philippines, they're just like, and
And
what
what
else,
yes.
And like, and here there is no and. It's just like, oh, okay, you're a painter, nice, So it gives you that freedom to feel like you can explore that more and not feel silly or like you should be doing something more serious. And I think it's wonderful that you're doing so many different things. And how has your like business changed from moving to France? Like, are there things that you do differently as a business owner now?
Yeah, so my main bread and butter is as director of operations to mainly e-commerce businesses, but I also work with coaches and course creators or like service providers type of business in digital marketing and such. And so learning from that background, I brought it into coaching. I have been in the business for over a decade, and then like people just needed help creating their own business. And then I realized I need a proper certification. I took holistic coaching, which to me, as a business owner, you cannot do because you are your branding. The values of your business will depend on your values as a person. And this is my perspective. If you're creating a business and you are not living your values and you're not like creating the life that you really want, then might as well just go back to a corporate. I mean, you get mutual, you get all the benefits, you get somebody to pay your Navigo and and just do that. But if you're going to create your own business, it's for a reason. Like, you have this craving for a certain lifestyle, for a certain passion. You want to create a change in the world, whatever that looks like for you. And so you need to have a certain structure for sure, but you have to accept that your business is you. The brand is you. And so from a director of operations, which I still do, from time to time, when there's like on a project basis, from director of operations, I've taken coaching certification because as a coach, I think it's very delicate to create a space for business owners who will share with you not only their business, but their life and the future and their goals and their past. And sometimes trauma work can come up, and if you're not aware of it, you may create more problem than help them resolve it. And so I do that. And then as a coach, I started doing podcasting. And of course, we try to do it ourselves. And my husband helped me in the beginning, but we have different ears. So he was not the editor for me. And so I learned editing myself, and I found it relaxing. Like, I was surprised that I love editing, and it's like painting for me. It's like putting the elements together, putting the assets together, like blending the music with the voice, and like finding the music that will add beat into whatever the host is saying, and like just the timing of that. It was like painting for me. So now I'm like, okay, I actually want to do this for other people too. Initially, I started the podcast management services to offer to other coaches who are just starting, you know, and you cannot. I asked around in the beginning when I wanted to do a podcast, and I was quoted $7,000 for 4 episodes a month. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, okay, why don't I just do this? But also, I wanted to create a service that is reachable to accessible is the better word, to other coaches, to other people, to other creative, to other multi-passionate people. Because I believe that a lot of things in life are not new. I don't think that there's in 2024, there's no more like unique idea. I love to read, and I teach my children to read a lot because I tell them all the time that ideas are just like coming around and around over the years, over the centuries, and you'll find them in books. And there's no new idea. You just have to read them. Somebody already thought about that. And so sometimes though, you need to hear it from a certain person. Like, for example, I'd hear it from, I already know a fact, like I already know this, but that like it's not clicking. For whatever reason, there's a fact that I know that I need to use, I need to believe in to move forward with whatever I'm doing in my life, in my business, but it's not clicking. And then one of, you know, somebody in social media, I don't know, the coaches, I don't know, one of the books that I read, I would come across and I'll read it from their perspective, from their voice, and then it would click, and it would seem like stupid. It would seem stupid, but sometimes you just have to hear it from somebody specific. So that's why, that's how like the whole podcasting came to life.
Yeah, and it's so true. I mean, I can't tell you how many times like it was just like such a simple piece of advice or something that was holding me back. And it's just like the right person told me. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I should be doing, or I should trust myself. I mean, it's just like you need to hear it sometimes because a lot of times we just don't trust ourselves to do the things we need to do. And that kind of comes back to like what you were saying about defining our values. Like, how do people do that? Like, what's some advice you have for small business owners, artists? Like, how do you decide what your values are, like, to live on from your business?
Oh my God, that is such a good question, and also such a tough one. But first of all, I want to tell everybody that defining your values and your boundaries, let's make that a package, is not just a one-time thing. Like, you can do this over and over and over, like every month, every quarter, every year, depending on your growth, depending on your season, depending on where you are in life. And that is okay. It's very scary to set your boundaries and set your values and feel like, okay, I don't want to say I'm this, because then maybe people will think that if I change my mind, then I'm flaky. I'm not credible. I think that it's not true. I think it's arbitrary that we think that way. If people think that way, then they're not your people. So defining your values starts with defining the kind of life that you want. Do you only want to work 3 times a week? Do you only want to work, there's Team Ferry's 4-hour work week? Like, what is that life that you want for yourself? How are you serving your business with that kind of lifestyle? How can you still do what you do in your business? And in return, how is that business supporting that lifestyle? So it's clear, because then the business can grow, and then before you know it, you have another 9 to 5, or even worse, like 24/7, like work that you've done for yourself, and you can't quit. You can't say no because you own this. So designing that life and knowing that life, and then figuring out, like trying it out actually, and figuring out what works for you, and then setting boundaries to protect that. And don't be scared to like change it. So if in the beginning you wanted to just work 3 times a week, and then it doesn't really fit what you need, or the business is not in the stage where it will allow you to work just 3 times a week, then allow yourself to fail forward is what I say. Allow yourself to make this move, to make mistakes, if we can call it a mistake, but it never really is a mistake. It's only lessons learned in my perspective. But just try it, try all of these different things, and then learn from it, and then keep what resonates, leave what doesn't, always and forever.
I love that. And like, what about the opposite end of the spectrum where people are burnt out? Like, how do those people like slow down the burnout and redefine their values to stop the burnout?
I started with really getting to know myself, like truly and fully, like who I am. In my experience, our identity we have been shaped, first of all, with how we were raised, where we are from, culturally, our religion, if you have one, our environment, and then our experiences in life. So what I had to do is I had to take stock of all of me in the past 3 decades of my life. And I'm like, from the very naked picture, who am I really? What do I really stand for? What do I really care for? If money is not a question, if money is not a thing, what do I really want to do? And in the heart of all hearts, what do I really care for? What do I want to protect? What do I want to stand for? And me, as a mom having children, what do I want my kids to remember me for? And a lot of things I do, actually, I do also odd jobs here and there because I want them to see by example that there's no bad jobs, really, unless you're a murderer or you do something like literally criminal or immoral. But I want them to have that freedom also, like to see jobs as just jobs, because that gives them the freedom to try whatever it is. So I did that for myself. Like I went back and like get naked with myself, and it was really, really tough. It was really, really hard. Because I grew up in the Philippines. The Philippines has been colonized by the Spaniards for 333 years. And we were colonized through Christianism, through Catholicism. And so I'm like, am I really a Catholic? Is this really my faith? Do I really believe in God? What other values, like, is money really evil for me? Like, I like talking about money if I could, but it's not normal. It's frowned upon in my culture. But I like, if I find a way, I still haven't found a way that's comfortable for me. I want to share how like moms budget, at the certain season of their lives. It's not always that they're in a good position. Like what if they're like a negative? How do you get by? And I want to share that with the world. And like moving to abroad, how did you find rice? It's very expensive. Rice is very expensive here. Like just some of those things I want to share. And like, okay, what are the other things that I care about and that's really me? And so it's like trying to fit all of your clothes in your closet. Like, is this really mine, or was it something that I bought because I needed to show up in an event? I needed to look a certain way somewhere for someone. And so that was like a lot of unwearing of my clothes. And it's still in process. So that is like the long, very hard answer. But honestly, there's no other way to go through it. I think I don't see like a silver bullet to tell you. You got to figure out who you are, what you want to do in life, what hurts you, what are your triggers, what are your traumas, what do you want to bring in this world, what do you want to share, how do you want to be of service to others, to yourself, to your loved ones, how do you want to be remembered? If you die tomorrow, what you're doing right now, what you're anxious about, would it even matter? And And that's
Yeah.
also how I came about trying art, because it's very scary, but yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, it's we only have so much time, and I think like what you said was kind of like the answer too to like avoiding burnout. It's like going back to who you are. Why do you burn yourself out? How was your childhood? What are these like things that cause you to be this way? So I think that's all like really good points. Like you said, like, do I actually want to wear these clothes or I bought them for somebody else? So it's like breaking down ourselves and what we want, who we are, and then like working around those things to create the life we dream of. And I think like a lot of people feel guilty about the things they want, maybe depending on their society or where they grow up. Like, who am I to say I only want to work 10 hours a week and make 100K a year? Like, that's so spoiled or whatever. Like, how do you avoid feeling like guilty about the things you want because of societal norms and the way we were brought up?
You start to say no. It's still something that I'm working towards. There's this meme going in Facebook. I don't know who invented it. I wish I could send it to you, but if I find it, I'll send it to you. But it's like, it's not a meme. It's reals. It's Veronica. Veronica is representing every job worker. Veronica is American. I want to say every job worker in the US, and job worker meaning like office work, and how Veronica would be responding to microaggressions or like gaslighting or like just, you know, silly stuff in the office, but could get tiring and burn you out as an employee. First of all, I want to address how do you not get burnt out. If you know who you are, if you know what you want and you work towards that, you will never be burnt out. It's like what they say, it's very cliche, but know what you love to do and do that, and you'll never work the rest of your life. But if you ever get to a point, burnout is a signal that the body's telling you that there is something unequal in your lifestyle. And so you have to listen to that and figure out what you're doing more of that is not energy giving, that is not joy giving, and what it is that is you can do that gives you more joy, more energy in your day. So for example, if doing yoga in the morning makes you feel happier, makes you feel like you have taken care of yourself, then do that. Or journaling or meditation, or like if you're not into wellness types, then you could, and you're more like into more high powered, more strong type of workouts, go to the gym or make a point to have this ritual, this scheduled self-care that you get to put it in your calendar to actually enjoy like life, like go out for a brunch, eat some American pancakes. Have you been to Holy Belly?
Yeah, I love them.
Holy. It was my first time yesterday. But just like those little things can add up. And those little things, if also overlooked, also adds up. And then you're burnt out and you'd be like, but why? What did I do wrong? If you're not taking good care of yourself and you're not creating that balance, then of course you'd be burnt out. But I want to add on to finding out who you are. I figured out all of that. And also I figured out, I got into human design. It's a little bit woo, but I got into like learning different. I took so many personality tests. I got into human design and I figured out I am an introvert. I was like, oh, I'm an introvert, which means that I get my energy back when I'm alone, when I get to be alone with myself and just, you know, be in a room by myself, read a book, watch Netflix, whatever. Whereas other people, extroverts, tend to be energized or recharge their energy when they're meeting with friends or like hanging out or like having a drink with somebody. Whereas for me, that's like work. That's gonna exert energy from me. I need to be home and, you know, doing something else alone. And that is how I recharge. And so human design has like 4 types, and I'm a projector. And so like learning that was pivotal for me as well, because then I realized that, oh, I only have this limited energy compared to other people in the world. And so it takes away the guilt to say no, because I only have this amount of energy in my day. And so I have to be responsible to budget that, and understanding who I am and my design and my capacity and my limits, as well as my talents equally, like understanding and respecting that, has allowed me to not feel guilty, to take care of myself when I need to sign off when I need to, and just give grace to myself. I try hard to give grace to myself when things are not done when I want them to be done, or the way that I wanted them to be done. But yeah, it's really a lot of sticking with knowing who you are, and also being open to if that changes. Like if initially you thought you like a certain thing, and then after a few months, actually you're not, actually you like going out with people, then allowing yourself for that too.
Yeah, I think it's like all about discovering ourselves, and then we can really, avoid the bad, do the good. And like you said, it takes work to re-examine a life and everything, but it all comes down to that. And what are some ways you help people who are facing imposter syndrome? Because I know so many artists, so many creatives always have imposter syndrome. So like, what can people do to avoid that?
Just do it. You just do it, and you do it. You do it scared, and you just do it. I don't think that my approach would apply to a lot of people, honestly, who would leave their home country with 3 children, ages 9 below, and not knowing what's gonna happen, like 6,000 miles away from home. Just me. I've not met anyone else without like a plan. I'm like, I don't know. Where are you going to live? What you're going to do? I don't know. You don't even speak the language. But it's a muscle. Courage is a muscle. And if you try to do one single thing that you're scared to do, for example, you're scared to take the metro, for example, or you're scared to take the train that's like outside of Paris all by yourself, not knowing where to go. You're scared to eat alone because you've just never done it. Like, try to do one single thing that you're scared of and see how that feels. And like, make your way up. Okay, now that you have traveled outside of Paris, moved to Versailles, now you can take the metro all by yourself, and you can buy a ticket from Paris and go to one of the islands, go to the south all by yourself without speaking French. Yay! What else can you do to like get out of your comfort zone slowly? And you would find out that you don't actually die.
Yeah, it's like you said, baby steps.
Yes, and just like grow that muscle until like you get to a point that your body will remember that when you are scared of doing something, your body will remind you that you're going to be okay, that you can try it, and you're going to be fine. Like, yeah, it's a muscle.
Yeah, like you said, muscle memory. And how would you define creativity in your own words?
Oh, I love this question too. And I was thinking about it. Creativity for me is the art of manifesting your ideas and visions to the physical realm where we are through your artistic medium and in service to others, whether it is to inspire, bring joy, evoke emotion, or create awareness to a certain subject that you're passionate about. I think that artists have this whole world inside their head that nobody can get into until you create an art out of it, and you bring them to your world, like you give them a taste of your world. And sometimes, a lot of times, it helps people and make them happy.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to define it. I always get a different answer for that one. And talk a little bit about some of the resources that have helped you along your way with your creativity, with your business. Are there any resources that really helped you?
Yes, reading. I hate reading as a child, but this is something that's very generic, but like read and read and read and read, because you're going to get good at reading. And you would notice that a lot of people don't actually read. And just by that, you have an edge already in the business world, because you're like reading instructions and reading books. And as we grow older, I noticed that learning becomes harder, and grasping new ideas and adjusting and adapting becomes harder. And so if you're growing, especially when you're a business owner, when you're growing the muscle, when you're growing the skill to learn, learning is also a skill. When you're growing the skill to learn, you'd be amazed at how much you can actually learn. And that is actually the business, to learn new things, because especially in the digital world, in the internet world, we live in dog years. Like things like change so quickly, especially now with AI and everything. You have to learn to learn. You have to know how you learn, like your learning style, and create an environment that welcomes that. Create an environment that allows you to learn. Create an environment that allows you to fail. And create an environment that lets you be creative, and it's okay. So, for example, if you want to create, I got into creating candles, and that takes so much space. And so, living here in Versailles, we have a bigger space than folks in Paris. I have one part of our house reserved for all my trash, for all my candles and everything. And that space allows me just to try and test and be there and make a mess, and it's okay. Like, limit the amount of barrier that's going to stop you to do what you want to do. Because if there's like this thing, you don't have the materials, you don't have the space, you don't have this and that and the time and the energy or whatever, it's really going to be hard. But if that space is already there, it's already set up, I have the candle machines, I have all of the things. And when I get a minute from my day, or when I get inspired, I just go there and create. And you set yourself up for success.
I think that's great advice. You need to make that space. If it's going to happen, you have to create that time, create that space. And mess making is the best. We love mess making. And what are some future projects you're excited to share with everybody?
Yes. So I just rehauled my website. I also got into Squarespace building. Yay.
Exciting.
So I made my website. I just rehauled my podcast management website. And I refocused on working with people like myself. I wanna focus on creatives and multi-passionate business owners, and helping them manage their podcast, edit their podcast, and whatnot. And I'm hoping to make that as a kind of a knowledge hub where I would be putting out blogs, and I'll be also launching a podcast about being a multi-passionate entrepreneur that's coming up. And on my creative, well, it's all creative, but on my handicraft side, I'll be relaunching my summer launch for my polymer clay earrings and my 100% soy wax. I'm super excited to launch that this summer.
Amazing. Well, I love all the things you're doing, being multifaceted, multi-talented, multi-creative, and there's no shame in that. So if anyone's ever thinking they do too many things, like, just drop that out of your mind right away. And where can people connect with you online, check out your work, and check out your website?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Atelier Eternité. You will put that in in the description box.
For sure, yeah.
In Instagram and TikTok. And my podcasting management website is unapologeticamplified.com.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.